Assalamu alaikum. The topic of my presentation is Quaid Azam and his vision for Pakistan. My name is Syed Murtajiz Hussain Shah and my registration number is SP21 BCS 002. Section A1 semester is first. Quaid Azam's father's name was Punja Jinnah and his mother went by the name Mithibai Punja. His country of origin was British India and he was born on 25th of December 1876. He spent his earlier days in Karachi. Quaid Azam's early education started in Sindh Madrasatul Islam and then he went to Bombay for further education. Later on, Quaid Azam traveled to England where he studied law at Lincoln's Inn. After completing his education, he practiced law in Bombay and instantly became the most well known and reputed lawyer in Bombay. At one time, Quaid Azam is also known to be one of the most costliest and, yes, one of the most youngest lawyers in India. Quaid Azam's political career. Quaid Azam started his political career as Dadabhai Naroji's personal secretary in Congress, and he joined the National Congress, the Indian National Congress, in 1896. In his early career, Jinnah supported the British because he thought that they would grant Indians political freedom. Something very important to note here is that the entire spectrum of Quaid Azam's political career revolved around one thing. He wanted to get Indians a greater say in their political affairs. He wanted to work for the Indians. And this again was one of the guiding principles for his political career. Membership of All India Muslim League. In 1913, he joined Muslim League without leaving Congress, however. In 1916, he became the president of All India Muslim League and began to work for Hindu Muslim unity. Quaid Azam was very well known because of one thing. All he ever wanted was united Hindus and Muslims in British India. The Lucknow Pact was a bright chapter in the dark and gloomy time of Indian politics. Lucknow Pact created a political hegemony between the two nations, and Quaid Azam was conferred with the proud title of Ambassador of Hindu-Muslim Unity. Quaid Azam knew that if he had to gain grounds against the British, he had to make the Hindus and the Muslims, one of the two largest ethnicities and religions in British India, unite and work together against the British in getting greater goals and accomplishing more ground in the socio-economic and political spectrum in India. Reasons that prompted Jinnah towards Pakistan. Now, these are the various reasons that caused Jinnah towards Pakistan to move in a particular direction in the political arena that made Pakistan possible. The first being Congress rule of 1937 to 1939. Quaid Azam called for the celebrations of Day of Deliverance by the Muslims following the end of the gruesome Congress rule in 1939. When the Congress rule ended, Quaid Azam had asked all his followers all over India to celebrate the day because Muslims had faced large amounts of animosity by the Indians. They weren't allowed to follow their religion. They weren't allowed to do acts of worship and many other things. They were let down in the Indian society. They weren't looked upon as very great community, and this had a great toll on Quaid Azam as the leaders of Muslim. Then became the two nation theory. We are a nation with our own distinctive culture and civilization, language and literature, art and architecture, names and nomenclature, sense of values and proportion, legal laws and moral code, customs and calendar, history and tradition, aptitudes and ambitions. In short, we have our own distinctive outlook on life and of life. By all canons of international law, we are a nation. Quaid always knew that Hindus and Muslims now in British India could not work together after the Congress rule. He had come to a point reluctantly, very reluctantly, that the Muslims had to make and pave their own way in British India or in times following that. Creation of an Islamic state. We do not demand Pakistan simply to have a piece of land, but we want a laboratory where we could experiment on Islamic principles. And further, he said, Pakistan only means freedom and independence, but Muslim ideology, which has to be preserved, which has come to us as a precious gift and treasure, which we hope others will share with us. Quaid Azam's vision for Pakistan. Strong economic structure. Quaid Azam, in his speech on the inauguration ceremony of Pakistan State Bank, once said, Pakistan's economic system will be that of Islam, and one that is free of riba. The Western economic system has brought the world to a brink of catastrophe. Following the many years of tyrant British rule, the Muslims had been left behind in the British arena, in the British Indian arena, and this had an impact on Quaid Azam, and he wanted the new Muslim nation to grow economically strong and to face the many other nations on the face of the planet with their economic might. Then comes the political system. When asked by then President of the US as to what will be the constitution of Pakistan and its form of government, Quaid Azam replied by writing back to him in words, the constitution of Pakistan has been written down 1400 years ago in the form of the Holy Quran. Furthermore, Quaid Azam was of the idea that Pakistan must have a parliamentary system, the sort of Westminster in UK. Strong sovereign country that can defend itself. It is very apparent from Quaid Azam's conduct at the time of the War of 1948 when he sent down letters to the Pir of Vana asking him to call on the locals from Fata to fight against the Indian army that had landed in the Kashmir area. It was apparent that Quaid Azam had always wanted a country, a Pakistan that was strong and was able to defend itself. Furthermore, from his very much visits from different. Furthermore, from his visits to various army. Furthermore, from his visits to various army barracks and air force bases, it was apparent that he was into a military background for his new nation. Lastly and most importantly, Quaid Azam wanted Pakistan to be an Islamic state. This is very apparent from his various speeches of the time. At the time of 1947, Quaid Azam had established only two departments. One was ISI and the other was the Department of Islamic Reconstruction. The Department of Islamic Reconstruction was told to give speeches on Radio Pakistan to teach people about Pakistan's ideology and how we ought to live as in a Muslim country. This explains his idea and his intentions of what he wanted Pakistan to be, an Islamic state. Thank you.